Welcome to WinAirvideo and the March 22nd flyover of the Gordie Howe International Bridge. This engineering marvel is moving ahead towards its opening in the fall of this year. Today, we'll dive into the latest updates, controversies, and challenges surrounding this monumental project. Let's get started. First, let's talk progress. As of March 2025, the Gordie Howe Bridge is on track for a September 2025 opening. This cable-stayed bridge will stretch 0.53 miles across the Detroit River, connecting Detroit, Michigan to Windsor, Ontario. Once completed, it will be the longest cable-stayed bridge in North America. One critical component currently being installed are the modular expansion joints. These sophisticated systems ensure the bridge can safely expand and contract with temperature changes and traffic loads. The installation process is meticulous and can take up to 6 weeks. However, it seems to be taking longer to get the job done. This step is essential for connecting the bridge deck to both the Canadian and American plazas. As of the latest updates, there have been no official reports of significant delays related to the installation of the modular expansion joints. That's a good thing, eh? But why is this new bridge so important? For decades, trade between Canada and the US has relied heavily on the Ambassador Bridge. However, trade tensions, exacerbated by tariffs imposed during Donald Trump's presidency, have strained this vital crossing. The auto industry has felt the significant impacts of the increased trade encumbering the traffic on the Ambassador Bridge. Vehicles often cross between these two nations up to 8 times during production. Trump tariffs disrupted this flow, increasing costs for manufacturers and consumers alike. The tariffs imposed by the United States, particularly those targeting steel, aluminum, and automotive imports, have had a notable impact on trade volumes crossing the Ambassador Bridge, which is the busiest international border crossing in North America. Here's how these tariffs affected trade. Before we dive in, I'd like to ask for your support. Creating these videos requires time and resources. Your subscription is crucial for WinAir's continued success. It is free and helps us reach more engaged viewers like you. So hit that subscribe button and join our thriving community. Your comments and feedback are always welcome. The tariffs significantly increase costs for industries reliant on cross-border supply chains, especially the automotive sector. Many vehicles and auto parts are manufactured in stages that require multiple crossings between Canada and the US. The higher costs associated with tariffs disrupted this flow, leading to delays and increased expenses for manufacturers. This made some companies reconsider their reliance on cross-border production. While trade between Canada and the US remains robust overall, certain sectors experienced a decline in volume due to the tariffs. For example, the tariffs caused some automotive manufacturers to shift production to avoid repeated cross-border movements of goods. Some companies have begun to consolidate more of their production processes within a single country to reduce border crossings. Manufacturers sought local suppliers for components they previously sourced from across the border. Some companies reorganized their plants to complete more of the manufacturing process in one location, rather than shipping partially completed products back and forth. To reduce frequent small shipments, some manufacturers increased their inventory holdings on either side of the border. In some cases, entire production lines were moved to avoid cross-border movements altogether. A few specific examples include Ford Motor Company announcing plans to move production of its Focus model from Mexico to China instead of the US, citing cost savings. Canadian auto parts manufacturers like Magna International increased their U.S. production capacity to serve U.S. customers locally. Toyota accelerated its plans to increase U.S. production of certain models to avoid potential tariffs on imported vehicles. While these shifts were initially reactive to the tariffs, they've had lasting effects on industry's structure. Even after some tariffs were lifted, many manufacturers have maintained these new production strategies to increase resilience against potential future trade disruptions. This restructuring of production highlights the complex interplay between trade policies and industrial strategies in the highly integrated North American automotive sector. Canada exports of steel and aluminum to the U.S. were directly impacted by the tariffs, reducing shipments across the Ambassador Bridge. Some businesses began exploring alternative trade routes or methods to minimize tariff-related costs. This included rerouting goods through other crossings or ports, which slightly reduced reliance on the Ambassador Bridge. While tariffs have since been eased or lifted in certain areas, their legacy has influenced trade patterns. Businesses are now more cautious about relying heavily on cross-border supply chains that could be vulnerable to future political or economic disruptions. The Gordie Howe Bridge aims to alleviate these issues by providing a direct link between Interstate 75 in Detroit and Highway 401 in Windsor. This will reduce congestion in downtown Windsor and eliminate bottlenecks at existing crossings. This could help restore confidence in cross-border trade and reduce bottlenecks caused by tariff-related disruptions. While creating uncertainties between U.S.-Canada relationships, tariffs didn't completely halt trade across the Ambassador Bridge. They introduced inefficiencies, increased costs, and prompted businesses to rethink their planning strategies. Factors that underscore the importance of modernizing border infrastructure like the Gordie Howe Bridge. While the tariffs were intended to bring manufacturing back to the U.S., they also had some unintended consequences, leading some manufacturers to relocate production outside of the U.S. Here are some notable examples. The Ford Motor Company canceled plans to import the Focus Active from China to the U.S. due to its tariffs. They also moved production of the Focus model from Michigan to China, though this was planned before the tariffs. General Motors shifted some production from the U.S. plants to Mexico, particularly for SUVs and pickups. Harley-Davidson moved some production from the U.S. to Thailand to avoid EU retaliatory tariffs. Tesla accelerated plans to build a factory in Shanghai, China, partly to avoid tariffs on the U.S.-made cars sold in China. BMW moved some production of its X3 SUVs from South Carolina to China for the Chinese market. Polaris Industries, a leader in the power sports industry, producing a wide range of vehicles, shifted some production from Iowa to Poland to avoid EU tariffs. Mercury Marine moved some of outboard engine production from Wisconsin to Japan. Volvo shifted some XC60 SUV production for the Chinese market from US to China. It's important to note that these decisions were often part of complex global strategies and not solely due to tariffs. Tariffs have had a significant and complex impact on vehicle pricing in the global market. Tariffs on steel and aluminum increase the cost of these essential materials for automakers. Many vehicles use parts sourced globally. Tariffs on these components raise overall production costs. Many automakers passed increased costs off to consumers, resulting in higher vehicle prices. Luxury and imported vehicles were often hit hardest, with some seeing price increases of several $1,000s. Some manufacturers absorbed part of the cost increase to maintain market share, especially in competitive segments. Canada invested heavily in EV battery gigafactories over the past decade. The Stellantis LG Energy battery factory Nexstar in Windsor is to supply batteries across North America. Tariffs on certain battery components affected EV pricing. In some markets, the impact of tariffs was partially offset by government incentives for EVs. Exactly how the new Gordie Howe Bridge crossing will be affected by tariffs and trade negotiations is yet to be seen. There is still 6 to 7 months construction to finish on the bridge before opening, and anything could happen to help or hinder its success. However, no major project comes without its share of controversies. Originally slated for completion in late 2024, pandemic-related delays pushed back the opening by nearly a year to September 2025. Supply chain issues, labor shortages, and design challenges, especially around the I-75 interchange, contributed to these setbacks. Another point of contention: the absence of duty-free shops at launch. Stakeholders have raised concerns about the omission on such a critical international crossing. The Windsor-Detroit Bridge Authority is exploring solutions, but has yet to finalize plans. On a brighter note, environmental conservation efforts are also part of this project. A peregrine falcon nesting box will soon be installed beneath the bridge deck, complete with a remote-operated camera for monitoring. Additionally, new prairie habitats and pollinator-friendly areas are being developed around the site. As we inch closer to September 2025, excitement builds for what this bridge represents: a stronger connection between two nations and an economic boost for both regions. From its state-of-the-art design to its role in reshaping trade routes, the Gordie Howe International Bridge is poised to leave a lasting legacy. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe to WinAirvideo for more updates and information on infrastructure projects that affect our lives. Leave your thoughts in the comments. This is Bob Jones, and I will see you in the next video.